Much shalom, family. It is Siobhan. So, it did not go well yesterday because for some reason, well, not for some reason, my battery died. Nevertheless, we're back. No, you cannot. Go play. So we're back. And I was just basically just going over Nehemiah for battling. Nehemiah is a great book to reference when you are dealing with spiritual warfare. We know that this is not a battle against flesh and blood, but of principalities. But some of the things that I think we forget is that it is just that one, starting off, we are too busy focused on, tangible things like bills and things like that, which don't get me wrong, that is all a part of the walk and the struggle of regular old day in, day out stuff. But at the same time, in particular, consecrating yourself, consecration. When you are consecrating yourself, be ready for a battle. When you are seeking the Most High, be ready for a war. When you are seeking answers and you are ready to break strongholds, be ready for a fight, because the Philistines, I think I've shared that already. When David, before he even arrived on the scene, Goliath said, "Hey, if you slay me," remember when he was calling people out day in and day out? It said that every day for 40 days, that's good. Goliath was taunting the Israelites and going to them and saying, "Hey, if you got somebody to fight me, okay, they fight me, then and they slay me or they strike me in some translations, then we will be your servants. But if we strike and slay you, then you are our servants." So that was talking about a physical thing. But in the spiritual, if the enemy wounds you to the point where you give up or you just bow down, bowing down is a form of submission, right? So you are submitting yourself to the enemy. And we can't do that. We can't do that because then we become his servants. Then it makes that scripture even more authentic and more applicable to your life, where it says, whomever you serve is your master. And so anyway, I don't really remember where I left off on the last feed, but I will say this. Day 15 was another attack, spiritual attack. And the way that I would describe it was, for the women, if you've ever been pregnant, or husbands, you've ever seen your wives pregnant, when you're towards the end, that last 7, 8 months, 9 months, and your baby is big enough to where you can see the movement very clearly in the womb, or on the outside, the demon that was attacking was on my chest again, and I could see the body movement, and it mimicked that same thing that you would see in a pregnant woman with her child. So it's been real. I have not experienced that before. It has been something. And so now it's day 16, going into day 17 come sundown. And I just want to share with y'all, because again, this is for those who think it's crazy. You think you're by yourself. You think you're alone in on this, but you're not alone. This is what is happening amongst the brethren. We are not in it by ourselves. And I have to keep reminding myself, I am not the only one that experiences these things or has experienced these things. And it is a strategy, a tactic, a device of the enemy to place fear. And so battling fear in the midst of breaking strongholds. Again, back to Nehemiah. I'm telling you, if you have not read it, it is such a good book to go and refer in times like this, because I was trying to share the story last time, but nevertheless. So it's Nehemiah. He's a cupbearer to the king at the time. Xerxes, I think that's how you say his name. And um, long story short, he asked if he could go and build back the city of Jerusalem because it had been laid waste, it had been consumed with fire, the walls were broken down, there was a breach. And so it grieved Nehemiah. And Nehemiah was like, I have got to go, I've got to go and do something. So the king allows him, and he even sends letters, and he's like, hey, he needs this, he needs that, he needs that, grant it to him so he can build this wall or this city back up. And so anyway, fast forwarding, chapter 4 is such a meaty chapter. But I wanted to read a couple of different things to you to encourage you. So chapter 3 is basically specifying everything that they're going to repair, everything that they're going to do, who's going to be rebuilding what, and what I noticed is they built walls, they had locks, and they had doors. And so even on the first verse of chapter 3, it says they builded the sheep gate, they sanctified it, and set up the doors of it, even unto the tower of Maya, they sanctified it, unto the tower of Hananel. And next unto him builded the men of Jericho. So it's going on and on and on about what they're building, how how they're going to put doors on it and locks and what have you, but they sanctified it. One of the very first things they sanctified it, talking about the sheep gate. Now, I think that's interesting. As you know, we are the sheep of the Most High Yah, and we have the shepherd, which is the Messiah. And me personally, that stood out to me. That stands out to me right now. The sheep gate being sanctified. Now, I don't recall them saying they sanctified anything else, but nevertheless, I'm sure there was an order to things and how they did it, obviously. But being sanctified, that's the whole point of this consecration. Consecration and sanctification go hand in hand. So when we are setting ourselves apart for the Most High, the enemy don't like that. We're already a set apart people. That's why we deal with the things that we deal with already. We deal with battling those generational curses, getting them up off of us, dealing with hatred from other nations, dealing with just a whole spectrum of things, right? Dealing with animosity because you share the truth, dealing with people calling you self-righteous just because you stand for righteousness, dealing with the opposition to we do observe Torah. Do we uphold it to the nth degree? No, because we simply cannot. That's why we walk in the spirit of the law. We get animosity and opposition for that, and people don't understand it. Therefore, they fight against it because it does not fit their way of thinking. It does not. It puts a mirror in their face, and it shows that, hey, you can't continue to walk in sin and be pardoned like you think. What you've been taught is lies. And so, of course, when you have those conversations, it's met with hatred and guile and so on and so forth. So the point is, we deal with enough already. But in the weightier matter of things, we have strongholds that have been there before we were even born, simply because our forefathers, put that in the works. They chose to crucify the Messiah. They chose to ignore the ways of Yahuwah. They're doing the same thing that they're doing today, right? That we're doing today. We are denying our Father and what He has called us to do, who He has called us to be. We don't want to be set apart. We want to conform with the world. We don't want to eat clean. We want to eat all the unclean stuff because bacon is good, because I love shrimp, because this, and that, and the third. We don't want to be set apart. We want to be like everybody else. Why? Because that means our flesh gets to live when it's supposed to be dead. Our flesh is supposed to be in the grave right now with the body that Hamashiach laid down, because that was a spiritual representation that we would be alive again. We were going to kill that flesh, or he did kill that flesh. That was a spiritual representation of that, and entering into the promise of being resurrected again, being able to transfigure just like Hamashiach did. And so we don't want that. It's just, it's party time and YOLO. I got only one life and I'm going to live my best life. Oh, and by the way, I love God. That's not, if you love him, keep his commandments, right? We all have to be, and it ain't just because I'm in the truth. It ain't just because I think I'm holier than thou. I don't believe I'm better than anybody. If anything, I need to get myself in check above anybody, because yes, we are one body, and what you do affects me and what I do affects you. But at the same time, I can't be all up in your business and worried about what you're doing and worrying myself to death about, whether you're upholding yours. I got enough of me that I need to ask y'all to clean me out. And so this is what all this is about with consecration. Consecrating myself so that I can get in a quiet place, in that secret place, and say, Father, what else? And he's showing me. He's showing me. He's showing me things that even from childhood I have to let go, and things that I thought I let go. He's like, yeah, but you didn't break this here. You need to break this. And so, nevertheless, getting back to Nehemiah, what did it start off with? It said that he looked at the city of Jerusalem and saw that it was desolate and it was consumed by fire and it was broken down and all that. So as you go throughout the story and you get to chapter 4, my goodness, it talks about how now that they have things in motion, they're putting their, it said that they strengthen their hands to work, and it's a good work. Um, Getting ready to rebuild and do this job here. So when we do that, when we consecrate ourselves, when we allow the Most High to start showing us ourselves, it's up to us to do something once he reveals something to you. That's why it says, and I say it all the time, do not be hearers only, but doers also, lest you deceive yourself. Because if he reveals something to us and we are like, oh, okay, that's nice. So anyway, I mean, what was the point of him showing it if we weren't going to do anything about it or apply his word so that we can be set free or whatever it is? And in this case, it's all about breaking down the strongholds and rebuilding. At first, my attention was more about breaking strongholds, which it still is. But reading this story, the rebuilding, I mean, it was already broken down. I allowed demons throughout my life to steal from me, to break down anything that I thought I had. And so as I'm learning that, go, I love you. Yes. Okay. As I'm learning that, I have to be ready to rebuild. I have to be ready to put my hands to work, strengthen my hands to do that good work, because my Father wants me repaired. He wants me healed. He wants me whole. He wants me complete. He said he's perfecting me unto the day of Hamashiach, which means I got to get stuff in order. And so anyway, reading this story, I want to pull something up here just to read to you because it's profound. So in chapter 4, I'm going to just read it. So when you're in the midst of doing the good work, the repairing the breach, so on and so forth. I'm reading KJV, and it has a title to this chapter. It says hostility to the work. And man, if that don't fit. But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth and took great indignation and mocked the Jews. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, what do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned? Man, let me back up. So I told y'all 2 spiritual attacks. And that's just in the physical. I feel like it's been more than that, but sticking with those. Battling. That first night, I kid you not, yeah, it took me by surprise some, because obviously that hasn't happened to me before. But even in that, having joy for the rest of the day, I was joyful all that day, joyful. Count it all joy, brethren. I was joyful because that let me know, okay, I'm in the right direction. My Father is doing something. There's something spiritually in the works that I, though can't physically see, I am physically being attacked because of that. And the second attack, which was not last night, but the night before, seeing that movement on my chest, both times, I know I was mocked. I know that I heard a laugh the second time. It was like a little subtle, like chuckle. And I was like, whoa, okay. So anyway, Sanballat. Sanballat is obviously the one who's in opposition, the adversary. When he heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth and took great indignation. So now that I am in the works of building up myself again, okay, gotta go. Now that I am in the works of seeking, I was about to say reparations, seeking repairment of self so that I can be restored to my Father and walk in the fullness that he has called me to walk in. Sanballat, or the enemy today, has heard about this, obviously. And obviously the enemy is upset that I'm in the works of doing this. Wrath and took great indignation, despising, hating that I'm trying to pursue this. And mocked the Jews, mocking me by laughing and taunting when he's attacking. And so that's interesting. And look at this. It says, and he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, so now the enemy is going and congregating with the rest of the enemy in their body. They are a body as well. Taking counsel on one another. What do these feeble Jews? They're like, what are they doing? What is she doing? Who does she think she is? This weak person before me. Who and what is she, and who does she think she's I said it backwards. What does she think she's doing, and who does she think she is? This weak, nothing, pathetic human that's coming up against me, this powerful spiritual being, because we know that the enemy is full of pride. That's why he got cast down to begin with, full of pride. So it's like, oh, what are you doing? What you doing? You stepping to me? And then, thank you, Father. That reminds me of Goliath. Thank you, Father. He's so good. So think about it. What happened when David stepped on the scene and he was like, wait a minute, all these grown men, y'all not gonna shut this uncircumcised Philistine down? Do you know who we serve? And then here comes David and he goes before Goliath, and Goliath's like, am I a dog that you would bring me sticks? I think I'm quoting that right. Am I a dog that you would bring me sticks? He's like, who is this feeble person? Who is this feeble, weak little being that you bring into my doorstep to challenge me? Now remember, he asked for it. He'd been doing it 40 days and 40 nights, on and off, on and off. Somebody come step to me. Somebody slay me. I'll be your servant. But if I slay you, you're my servant. So on and so forth, going on and on and on. And then finally, we have a challenge here. And it's like he's offended. And that's what it said. This is not the translation that said he was offended, but TS 2009, those for you, it's called The Scriptures 2009. Very good version, by the way. It said that he was highly offended. That is exactly what Goliath was mad about. He was highly offended that this feeble person would step to this majestic giant being who is strong and famous, infamous among all, and nobody could step to him, right? So then now we have this enemy who's watching you consecrate yourself, and he's like, wait a minute. He's strengthening his hands. He's seeking the Most High about this stronghold that I've had in his life for the past 10, 15 years. No. Who are you? You're weak. I've watched you all your life. You are weak. You ain't nobody. You fall short over here. You fall short over there. You got the lust of your eyes. You got the pride of life. Who are you? Who are you, right? And so enemy getting hyped up. Listen to what he says. Will they fortify themselves? You think you're going to strengthen your hands? Will they sacrifice? You're going to bring sacrifices? You think you're going to be bringing incense and good, well-accepted sacrifices? You're going to present your body as a living sacrifice? You're going to consecrate yourself, set apart and acceptable unto Yah? Hold up. Who are you? Will they make an end in a day? You're going to mess up all my work that I've done all this time and you're going to make an end to it? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned? You've been dead all this time spiritually. You going to come back? You think you're going to be alive? So the enemy is hot right now. The enemy is hot right now. Why? Because you are making strides to get to the kingdom. You are making strides to break down the work that they have put in. And they know that it can be gone just like that. Why? Because the power of Hamashiach, the power of Yahuwah is with us. And that's what we need to remind ourselves. Even me, y'all. Let me tell you, last night was a bit of a struggle. I had to continuously put fear, shut that out, because the enemy wants to bring fear. That's why he's trying to shut my mouth up. He's trying to keep me in a state of feeling like I am helpless and he's stronger than me and I can't do anything about it. And he's laughing in my ear. He's mocking me in my ear and to my face. Oh, you think you're going to do something? I'm going to laugh at you. And I even looked up the word mock. That word mock, we know what it means, but I like to look up the definitions anyway. That word mock, it says, matter of fact, I don't even want to misquote. I'll just pull it up again. Mock. Making fun of someone or something in a cruel way, derisive. Make something seem laughably unreal or impossible. I'm going to read that again. To make something seem laughably unreal or impossible. That's exactly what the enemy desires for us. To laugh in our face, to make us feel that what we are trying to accomplish in this consecration is laughable because it's unrealistic for us to think that we could overcome the enemy. It is impossible for you to overcome the enemy. What seems impossible for man is possible with Yah. I can do all things through who? Through Hamashiach, the Messiah, who, what? Strengthens me. Why did it say strengthen your hands in this passage here? When they were talking about getting ready to do this work, this good work. He don't want you to do no good work. He wants you to do those things that, yes, they are good, but they're not dealing with the weightier matter with you personally. There's so many people that are going to say, Lord, Lord, have I not cast out devils in your name, and so on and so forth. So they thinking because they casting out devils. They thinking because they fed the homeless twice a week. They thinking because they fasted twice a week. They thinking because I took care of my mother, which, don't get me wrong, all those things are good. But when you are walking in the fullness, when you are walking in the spirit, when you are walking into all truth, having a love for the truth, worshiping him in spirit and in truth, when you are obeying the commandments of the Most High God, when you are walking in that, there's a complete difference. Otherwise, why wouldn't they be accepted for doing those good works? We as individuals, hold on 1 second. I got a chicken coming in my RV. Hey, get your behind out here. Get him. Get him. Who does she think she is? Nevertheless, when we bring it back to me, Father. When we allow ourselves to think, thank you, that all we got to do is the minimum, that if I'm kind, I'm righteous. If I'm paying tithes and offering every Sunday, that makes me righteous. That makes me good. That makes me a good person. That I love you and accept you for who you are, even if it goes against the word of Yah, because then I can just say, oh, he loves you anyway. When we believe those lies, it takes away from what the Most High is trying to do, which is that good work in you. It takes away the pursuit of rebuilding what has been breached. It takes away that good work. And you wonder why life is going so smoothly. Now, don't get me wrong. Basic life struggles happen. I know. But when you are committed to the work of Yah, and you are truly going, seeking, chasing, trying, striving for righteousness, not getting puffed up in pride saying that I have arrived, not getting puffed up in pride saying that I am perfected. No, we are perfected unto the day of Hamashiach, scripture says. Every day he is perfecting something in you. He is fixing something in you, as long as you are seeking that. As long as you are seeking the Most High, he is continuously doing a work in you. He said that he's gonna finish the work, the finisher and perfecter of our faith, right? So anyway, back to the story. The enemy wants you to believe that it is unreal. It is not possible for you to overcome. And last night, the spirit of fear was trying to have its way, thinking all these different things. Where is he? When is he gonna attack next? What's gonna be the attack? Blah 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 blah. That, to a degree, has its importance, because we are not to be ignorant of the devices of the enemy. But the word also says, he will keep me in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on him, right? So we can't be caught up and consumed. Thank you, Falia. We were just reading in Ecclesiasticus chapter 19, where it said that the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. It's not wise. Now, again, we are to be aware and to have knowledge of the devices of the enemy. Why? So that we can take defense, so that we can arm ourselves in the whole armor of Yah. So please don't get me messed up when I say that. But all knowledge of wickedness is not good knowledge. And so, too busy trying to know How, when, where, why, what time, what's he going to be wearing, what am I going to be thinking? All that can get out of hand and out of place, and it's going to put you in a position of vulnerability to the enemy, because now he's got your mind stayed on him when your mind should be stayed on the Most High. Now, it's one thing you say, oh, okay, Nehemiah. So you're saying, go and read the story. So you're saying he came at you not just once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and this is how he came at you, and this is how you combated that. Okay, now I'm aware of the device of the enemy. Now I see a pattern to his strategy and how he comes. And not only that, not only am I learning the device of the enemy, but I'm also paying attention to how Yahuwah led and guided you, Nehemiah, into the response to that. And what did Nehemiah do over and over again in the story? I think I'm going to break it down chapter by chapter. Yah willing, we'll see what happens. But what Nehemiah continuously did is he went before Yah. He prayed before Yah. He asked Yah at some point to strengthen their hands, because the enemy, he said, we are despised. Because the enemy, Sanballat, and these other men, Tobiah and Gershom, I think is the third guy, they would come together with other people and continuously make plans to attack and to cause the work to cease, is what it says. The enemy wants you to stop the work that you are doing. Do not do it. Hold on and stay firm. Hold on and stay firm. What the enemy is doing is he is trying to cause distraction. He's trying to place fear, and we cannot allow that. And I'm talking to self again last night, putting off those fearful thoughts, shedding them off. Did I do it all perfectly? Honestly, no. But I'm not going to stay down. I am not going to allow the work to cease so that the enemy can cause me not to build. No, I'm going to learn. Okay, this is something you have to work on. Siobhan, you have to work on this yet again. Okay? You ain't there just yet, but that's okay, because my Father is perfecting me unto the day of Messiah, which means I have not reached the end all be all. So that means I still got work to do. So get back to work. Dust it off. Get back to work. Fight harder tomorrow. Does that mean it's going to be perfect tomorrow? No, I hope it is. Because sometimes Yah will allow those victories to just be like, nah, I'm shutting it all down. I straight up won this battle by the power of my Father. Sometimes it is like that, but it's not that all the time. So I'm encouraging you, get up, do it again and again and again and again until you graduate and you level up, and he shows you, all right, baby, this is what you've been doing wrong. Here's the key. Here's the key. Okay, you turned it to the left. No, you still turn it to the left. No, okay. All right, pull it back. All right, go to the right. Almost there. All right, you got it. It's the same. I see it with my children. You can sit there and be like, baby, go to the left. To the left. To the left. No. What's your left? Do you know your left? Okay. Now you got it. Thank you. Let's get it together. Yeah, it's like that with us too. And so be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself, because our Father has been long suffering. So who are you not to be long suffering with yourself? That does not mean, hey, I need you to be quiet. Nope. That does not mean that you stay down until you run out of that patience with you, and He's gonna have to move for you. That means acknowledge where you allowed the breach, and then get up and fix it, rebuild it, repair it, do something to move forward, do something. And me, I'm that type of person. Like right now, I'm sitting in my RV. I have bought paint. I have bought this. I have bought that. I have bought wallpaper. I got all these different plans I want to do. But I'm that type of person that wants to get it done in one day. And that's just not I mean, I could, but I got 4 kids, and it's gonna be a lot. And honestly, I ain't trying to give myself no extra stress or whatever on top of what I'm trying to do. Go outside. Go outside. So, nevertheless, you're not gonna get it all in one day. You're not gonna get it all in one day. Why? Because you've been feeding your flesh for 30 years. Me, you've been feeding your flesh for 30 years. And so that took time to build up that old man. Now that he's dead, you working with a baby now, the spirit man. And then he's gonna be a toddler, and then he's gonna be an adolescent, and then here we are. We have reached the peak. But that's until the day of Messiah, or when he's gonna take you out. God willing, you are completed and perfected in that time. So my point is, y'all, don't be discouraged when the enemy comes mocking and laughing at your face. Do not cause him to train your brain to think it is impossible for me to accomplish this. It may feel that way, but then you have to ask yourself, why am I put in situations that seem so impossible? Could it be to further bring even more glory to Yah, because you know it's impossible for you. You know it's not possible for you. But with Yah, all things are made possible to those who believe. Believe that he can do it for you. Siobhan, believe that he can get you out of that. Because he will. As long as you hold fast and firm and endure. It said, blessed is the man that endures temptations. For when he endures, he will receive the crown of life. I want to receive the crown of life. And I know you do too. So
Stop it.
when the enemy comes taunting and laughing and mocking and making you think, ain't no way out anyway, there's always a way of escape, because our Father makes it so. But you have to believe it for yourself. You have to fortify yourselves. You have to strengthen your hands. And when it's hard for you to do, ask Yah to strengthen your hands. Father, we are despised. The enemy is coming and laughing and taunting. I need to be in a position where I can fight him effectively with all faith in me, like David had a little boy. And then even Goliath was mocking David. He was taunting the Israelites for 40 days. Oh, be quiet. Oh, hey, go. Now, all of you. Bye. Sorry. I don't know why they just coming in here. The point is, even David was mocked and laughed at. The Israelites were mocked and laughed at because this giant was like, what can you, little grasshopper, do to me? That's why Caleb and Joshua said that they had a right ruach within them. They had a new spirit within them. So you need that kind of mindset in order to defeat those giants. Don't be discouraged. Don't get caught up in the lies of the enemy. The flesh wants to run. It's that fight or flight. You have to be ready to fight. You cannot flee the devil. The devil is to flee you. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Resist the fear. He will flee from you. Resist the temptations. It will flee from you. Resist the lies. It will flee from you. You cannot. A guest is not going to stay in your home if you make him feel unwelcome and kick him out. You're not going to allow someone to stay in your home that you don't want there. You are going to put him out. And the enemy ain't going just because you said it one time. Now, I want to get built up to that point so I can be like Hamashi. I can be like, come out of her, and then boom, it's what it is. You know what I mean? But you gotta work. You gotta work to that. You gotta get up to that point. The point is, the enemy ain't going without kicking and screaming. When you read Nehemiah, Sanballat, after every response Nehemiah gave, Sambalat, Gershom, Tobiah kept coming back, kept coming back, kept coming back, kept coming back. Yeah, he gonna flee, but he'll come back at some point. So be ready. It said that when they were building with one hand and they had their sword on the other hand. Building, fighting, building, fighting, building, fighting. I don't care how hard it is, y'all. If you had a rough day, that's okay. Keep building, keep fighting, keep building, keep fighting. I wrote down certain scriptures from this story and I have them posted on my wall because I need to remind myself when that fear tries to slip back in, when those thoughts try to come and worry me about what the enemy is doing, when I need to remind myself, do not worry nor be anxious, but make my prayer and supplication, but make supplication and make my requests made known unto you. I have to make them known unto him so that he can help me, so that he can aid me, that he can deliver me from the enemy. Because he's coming. He's coming. He don't want you to win. He wants you to feel defeated already and that you can't get down because he knows the power that we have in Hamashiach, in Yahuwah. I could go on, but this is actually way longer than I expected. But saying that all to say, I love y'all and I want y'all to win. I want you to win. And when the enemy is attacking how he's been attacking, that means you on to something. You're on to something. So I will say it again. Consecrate, consecrate, consecrate yourself. Don't forget to share, like, comment, subscribe, or don't. I still love you. All right, y'all. Thank you for coming back to break this bread. And much shalom to you. What happened? Doggy got